What if the GMC you're about to buy will cost more to fix than it's worth? Across the country, owners are watching their GMCs lose value fast, not normal depreciation. Repair-driven value collapse. I've talked to mechanics who refuse to work on certain models, not because they're lazy, because they know the repairs won't last. Clean title, low miles, looks like a deal. Underneath, a ticking time bomb. Stay until the end for the GMC losing value fastest right now. Dealers are quietly dumping them. Most buyers have no idea why. Let's start with the most common one on this list, and the one hurting the most owners right now. GMC number 1, 2014 to 2018, Sierra 1500 5.3L with AFM. The 2014 to 2018, Sierra 1500 with the 5.3-liter V8 is everywhere. Drive through any neighborhood in America and you'll see one in every third driveway. It's one of the best-selling trucks in GMC history. Comfortable ride, solid towing capacity, and when it's running right, genuinely enjoyable to own. But there's a fatal flaw hiding inside these engines, and it's destroying their value faster than any other issue on this list. Active fuel management. AFM GM's cylinder deactivation system shuts down 4 of the 8 cylinders under light load to save fuel. On paper, it sounds brilliant. Better gas mileage without sacrificing power when you need it. In reality, it's a ticking time bomb that sent thousands of these engines to an early grave. Here's what's actually happening inside your engine. The AFM lifters are different from standard lifters. They have a locking mechanism that engages and disengages constantly during normal driving. Every time you cruise at highway speed, those lifters are cycling. Every time you slow down for traffic, they're cycling again, thousands of times per tank of gas. Over time, usually somewhere between 80,000 and 140,000 miles, these lifters wear out. They collapse. And when an AFM lifter collapses, it doesn't just fail quietly. It takes your camshaft with it. The first warning sign is a ticking noise from the engine. Owners call it the Chevy tick, but it happens on GMC trucks just the same. Most people ignore it at first. The truck still runs. The tick isn't that loud. Maybe it's just normal engine noise. It's not normal. That tick is the sound of metal grinding against metal inside your engine. And every mile you drive is making it worse. By the time the lifter fully fails, you're looking at a complete teardown. The intake manifold comes off, the cylinder heads come off, the camshaft comes out. And when the mechanic inspects everything, they usually find scoring on the cam lobes, debris in the oil passages, and damage that's spread beyond just the failed lifter. Parts and labor for a full lifter and cam replacement run between $3,500 and $5,000 at an independent shop. At a dealer? $6,000 to $8,000. I've seen quotes as high as $9,000 on trucks where the damage was extensive. Now let's do the math that makes these trucks worthless. A 2015 Sierra 1500 with 120,000 miles books for maybe $12,000 to $15,000 in good running condition. But if that truck needs a lifter job, you're looking at spending 40 to 50% of the truck's entire value just to keep it on the road. And here's the part that really kills the value. Even after you spend $5,000 on the repair, the AFM system is still there. The new lifters are the same design. The problem can happen again. Buyers know this. They're not stupid. I've watched these trucks sit on Facebook Marketplace for months. Owner starts at $14,000, it drops to $12,000, then $10,000, eventually sells for $7,000 or $8,000 to someone willing to roll the dice, or to a flipper who's going to part it out. If you're shopping for a 2014 to 2018 Sierra with the 5.3, you need a pre-purchase inspection from someone who specifically knows what to listen for. Better yet, look for a truck where the owner has already disabled AFM with a tuner or replaced the lifters with non-AFM components. Those trucks actually hold their value because the problem has been addressed. But a stock 5.3 with AFM and high miles? That's not a deal. That's someone else's problem waiting to become yours. Quick thing, if this is helping you avoid a costly mistake, hit subscribe. GMC number 2, 2019 to 2021, Sierra 1500 6.2L. You'd think the newer trucks would be safer, more refined, better engineered. Think again. The 2019 to 2021 Sierra 1500 with the 6.2-liter V8 has a problem that most buyers don't know about yet. And it's not just the AFM lifter issue. although that's still present in these engines too. This is something worse, something that can destroy your engine without any warning at all. In April 2025, GM issued a massive recall affecting these trucks. The problem? Connecting rod bearing failures that can cause catastrophic engine destruction. Let me break down what that actually means for your engine and your wallet. The connecting rods are the link between your pistons and your crankshaft. Every time a cylinder fires, the connecting rod transfers that explosive force into rotational energy. We're talking thousands of pounds of pressure, thousands of times per minute. The connecting rod bearings are what allow this to happen smoothly. They're precision machined surfaces that let the rod spin on the crankshaft with minimal friction. When those bearings fail, the rod starts moving in ways it shouldn't. Best case scenario, you hear a knocking noise and shut the engine off before major damage occurs. Worst case, and this is what's happening to owners, the connecting rod breaks free entirely. When a connecting rod lets go at 3,000 RPM, it doesn't just stop moving. It punches through the side of your engine block like a fist through drywall. That's not a repair. That's a complete engine replacement, $8,000 to $12,000, assuming you can even find a replacement engine. The recall covers inspection and repair for affected vehicles. But here's what GM isn't advertising. Not every truck has been serviced yet. The recall was issued less than a year ago, and millions of these trucks are on the road. Many owners don't even know their vehicle is affected, and even trucks that have been inspected aren't necessarily safe. The root cause appears to be a manufacturing defect in certain batches of engines. Identifying exactly which engines have the defective bearings isn't always possible without tearing the engine apart. I've talked to owners who bought these trucks used in 2024, completely unaware of the recall. 6 months later, they're staring at a repair quote that exceeds the truck's value. The market has noticed. Trade-in values for 2019 to 2021 Sierra 6.2-liter trucks have dropped dramatically over the past 12 months. Dealers are offering thousands less than they were a year ago because they understand the liability they're taking on. Private buyers are even more cautious. Anyone who does 5 minutes of research finds the recall information and walks away. If you currently own one of these trucks, check your VIN immediately. Go to GM's recall website or call your dealer. If your truck is affected, get it serviced now. Don't wait. If you're shopping for one, verify that the recall work has been completed. Get documentation. And understand that even with the recall addressed, you're buying a truck with a question mark hanging over its engine. These trucks stickered for $60,000 to $75,000 new. I'm seeing them sell for $30,000 to $35,000 now. Trucks that are only 4 or 5 years old with reasonable miles. That's not depreciation. That's the market pricing in catastrophic risk. GMC number 3, 2015 to 2016, Sierra and Yukon with 8-speed transmission. When GM introduced the 8-speed automatic transmission in the 2015 Sierra and Yukon, they promised smoother shifts and better fuel economy than the outgoing 6-speed. What owners actually got was one of the most frustrating transmission problems in modern truck history. The issue is called torque converter shudder, and if you've experienced it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're driving at low speed, maybe 25 to 45 miles per hour, and you feel a vibration through the whole truck. It's like driving over rumble strips, except the road is perfectly smooth. The shudder happens when the torque converter clutch engages. In these transmissions, the clutch material and the transmission fluid don't always play nice together. Microscopic particles build up on the clutch surface, and instead of engaging smoothly, it grabs and slips dozens of times per second. GM knew about this problem almost immediately. They released technical service bulletin after technical service bulletin, software updates, fluid changes with a special additive, torque converter replacements. Some owners had their torque converters replaced 2 or 3 times under warranty. None of it worked long term. The shudder kept coming back. The problem got so widespread that a class action lawsuit was filed against GM owners, alleged that GM knew about the defect before these trucks ever went on sale and sold them anyway. The lawsuit resulted in extended warranty coverage for some vehicles, but GM never admitted the transmission was fundamentally flawed. Here's where 2026 buyers get burned. Those extended warranties have long since expired. The trucks are now 9 to 11 years old. Most have 80,000 to 150,000 miles. And the transmission problems haven't gone away, they've gotten worse. A torque converter replacement costs $1,500 to $2,500, but if the shudder has been happening for years, and on most of these trucks it has, the damage goes deeper. The clutch packs inside the transmission are worn. The valve body is scored from contaminated fluid. The transmission is dying from the inside out. A full transmission rebuild runs $3,500 to $5,000. A replacement transmission with labor can hit $6,000 or more. Now look at the values. A 2015 Yukon with the 8-speed and 120,000 miles might be worth $18,000 to $22,000 in good condition. But good condition assumes the transmission works properly. If it shudders, if it needs a rebuild, you're looking at spending 20 to 30% of the truck's value just to make it drivable. Buyers know about this problem now. It's all over the forums. It's in every review. When someone sees a 2015 or 2016 Sierra or Yukon for sale, the first question they ask is about the transmission. I've seen owners drop their asking price by $3,000 to $5,000 just because of the 8-speed reputation, even on trucks that aren't currently showing symptoms. The stigma alone is killing the value. If you're considering one of these trucks, test drive it extensively. Get it up to highway speed, then slow down to 30 and accelerate gently. Feel for any vibration, any shudder, any hesitation. If something feels off, walk away. That transmission is going to cost you thousands. GMC number 4, 2015 to 2017. Yukon Denali with air suspension. The Yukon Denali is GMC's flagship. Top-of-the-line luxury, premium materials everywhere, and a ride quality that's supposed to justify that $60,000 plus price tag. A big part of that ride quality comes from the optional magnetic ride control air suspension system. When it's working, the Denali floats over bumps like a luxury sedan. The truck automatically adjusts ride height based on speed and load. It feels like nothing else in the full-size SUV segment. When it fails, and I need you to hear this clearly, it will fail. And when it does, you're looking at one of the most expensive repair nightmares on any GMC vehicle. The air suspension system has multiple failure points, and they're all expensive. The air compressor is usually first to go. It runs constantly to maintain pressure in the system, cycling on every time the truck senses a pressure drop. The seals inside the compressor wear out. The motor burns out from overwork. Replacement cost $800 to $1,200 for parts and labor. But the compressor failure is often just a symptom of a bigger problem. The air springs themselves develop leaks. Rubber degrades over time, especially in hot climates or areas with harsh winters. When an air spring leaks, the compressor runs overtime trying to maintain pressure, which kills the compressor faster. Each air spring costs $600 to $1,000 to replace. There are 4 of them. If you're unlucky enough to have multiple springs fail around the same time, which happens often because they all age together, you're looking at $3,000 to $4,000 just for springs. Then, there are the height sensors, the valve block, the air lines, and the electronic control module. Every component in this system is a potential failure point, and every repair requires specialized diagnosis. I've talked to Yukon Denali owners who've spent $6,000 to $8,000 over 3 or 4 years just keeping the air suspension functional. One repair leads to another. Fix the compressor, then a spring fails. Fix the spring, then a sensor goes bad. It never ends. The smart move for a lot of owners is converting to a traditional coil spring suspension. Conversion kits run $600 to $1,000, and the labor is straightforward. But here's the problem. Once you convert, you've eliminated one of the main features that makes a Denali. Buyers shopping for a used Denali expect air suspension. When they see it's been converted, they immediately wonder what else is wrong. What other expensive problems did this owner avoid by deleting systems? The conversion actually hurts resale value in many cases. A 2016 Yukon Denali with air suspension problems might book for $28,000 to $32,000. But finding a buyer willing to take on that risk? These trucks sit on the market for months. They eventually sell for $22,000, $20,000, sometimes less, to buyers who plan to do the coil conversion themselves and flip the truck. If you're shopping for a Yukon Denali from these years, inspect the suspension carefully. Look at the truck from a distance. Is it sitting level? Listen for the compressor running when you unlock the doors. Ask the owner directly. How much have you spent on suspension repairs? If they hesitate, you have your answer. GMC number 5, 2010 to 2012. Terrain. The GMC Terrain was GMC's entry into the compact crossover market. Decent styling, practical size, and an affordable price point that brought new buyers into GMC showrooms. What those buyers got was one of the least reliable vehicles GMC has ever built. The 2010 to 2012 model years are the worst offenders, and the main culprit is the 6-speed automatic transmission. These transmissions have a design flaw in the wave plate, an internal component that helps regulate clutch pack pressure. Over time, the wave plate cracks. When it cracks, the transmission loses its ability to engage gears properly. Symptoms start subtle, maybe a slight hesitation when shifting from park to drive, a soft clunk when the transmission engages. Most owners ignore these early signs because the vehicle still drives. Then it gets worse. Hard shifts that jolt the whole vehicle, the transmission slipping between gears, getting stuck in second gear and refusing to shift. That's limp mode, and it means the transmission computer has detected a serious problem. By the time most owners realize something is seriously wrong, the transmission is already destroyed internally. The wave plate has disintegrated, sending metal fragments through the transmission. Clutch packs are burned, gears are damaged. The only fix is a transmission rebuild or replacement. Cost: $2,500 to $4,000. Now consider what a 2011 Terrain is actually worth. With average miles, you're looking at $5,000 to $8,000 in good running condition. A $4,000 transmission repair on a $6,000 vehicle makes zero financial sense. This is why I see so many of these Terrains at salvage auctions. The transmission fails, the owner gets a repair quote, and they realize the math doesn't work. The truck gets sold for parts, scrapped, or donated for a tax write-off. What makes this especially dangerous for buyers is that these Terrains often look like great deals. They're cheap. They don't have crazy high miles. The interiors are usually clean because they were owned by people who took care of their vehicles. But that transmission is a time bomb. It's not a question of if it will fail, it's when. And when it does, you're either spending more than the vehicle is worth to fix it, or you're walking away from your purchase entirely. If you're considering a 2010 to 2012 Terrain, my advice is simple. Don't. I know that sounds harsh, but the transmission failure rate on these vehicles is too high to justify the risk. Spend a little more money on a newer model year, or look at a completely different vehicle. The few $100s you save buying a cheap Terrain will cost you thousands when that transmission lets go. GMC number 6, 2016 to 2018. Canyon Diesel. This last one might surprise you. The GMC Canyon with the 2.8-liter Duramax diesel was praised by every automotive journalist when it launched. Excellent fuel economy for a truck, impressive torque for towing, a diesel option in the midsize segment when nobody else was offering one. So why is it on this list? Because the market for these trucks has collapsed and the ownership costs are brutal. Let me start with the good news. The engine itself is actually pretty reliable. The 2.8 Duramax doesn't have the catastrophic failure issues you see with some other diesels. It's a solid motor that can go 200,000 miles or more with proper maintenance. The problem is everything else. Modern diesel trucks are loaded with emissions equipment. The Canyon has a diesel particulate filter, a selective catalytic reduction system, DEF injection, EGR, and a complex network of sensors monitoring all of it. This equipment is required by federal emissions law, and it's incredibly expensive to repair. A DPF replacement runs $2,000 to $3,500. The SCR catalyst is another $1,500 to $2,500. DEF injector failures cost $500 to $1,000. EGR cooler problems can run $1,000 or more. And here's the thing, this isn't if maintenance, it's when maintenance. Every diesel emission system eventually needs service. The DPF clogs, the DEF injector crystallizes, the SCR catalyst loses efficiency. These aren't defects, they're wear items. Expensive wear items. On a full-size diesel truck, Owners accept these costs because the truck does things a gas engine can't. You need to tow 12,000 pounds? You need a diesel. The maintenance costs are part of the deal. But on a mid-sized truck like the Canyon, the math doesn't work. The Canyon diesel tows 7,700 pounds max. A gas-powered Canyon V6 tows 7,000 pounds. You're paying diesel maintenance costs for 700 pounds of extra towing capacity. The fuel economy advantage has also shrunk. When diesel was cheaper than gas, the Canyon diesel made sense. Now diesel costs more than premium gasoline in most areas. The fuel savings that justified the higher purchase price and maintenance costs have evaporated. And then there's the resale market. Who's buying a used compact diesel truck? It's an incredibly small niche. Most Canyon buyers want the simplicity and lower maintenance costs of the gas V6. The diesel buyers, who specifically want oil-burning torque, usually step up to a full-size truck where the capability matches the cost. The result is that Canyon diesels sit on dealer lots for months. I've tracked listings where the price dropped 3 or 4 times before the truck finally sold. A 2017 Canyon diesel that's stickered for $42,000 new might sell for $16,000 to $19,000 today. And that's if you can find a buyer at all. If you currently own a Canyon diesel and it's running well, my advice is to keep it. Maintain it properly and drive it until the wheels fall off. But if you're shopping for one, understand what you're buying into. A niche vehicle with expensive maintenance, limited resale demand, and a market that's already priced in the pain. The one losing value fastest, revealed. I told you at the beginning I'd reveal the GMC that's losing value fastest right now. It's the 2019 to 2021 Sierra 1500 with the 6.2-liter V8, not the oldest truck on this list, not the one with the most problems historically, but the one where the gap between what people think it's worth and what it's actually worth is the widest. These trucks still look nearly new. They have modern technology, updated styling, and all the features buyers want. Someone shopping for a used truck sees a 2020 Sierra Denali and thinks they're getting a premium vehicle at a reasonable price. What they don't see is the recall, the engine uncertainty, the wholesale market that's already adjusted for the risk. I've watched 2020 Sierra Denalis that were $75,000 new trade at auction for $32,000 to $36,000. That's not 5-year depreciation. That's value collapse, driven by fear. Dealers are dumping these trucks at wholesale prices just to get them off their lots. They don't want the liability. They don't want the angry customer when an engine fails 6 months after purchase. Private sellers are competing against those wholesale prices and losing. They're listing at $40,000, getting no calls, and dropping to $35,000, then $32,000, then wondering why nobody wants their truck. The owners who bought these expecting normal truck depreciation, maybe 50% value retention after 5 years, are seeing 30% or less. On a $70,000 truck, that's a $15,000 difference from expectations. Until GM fully resolves the engine issues and buyer confidence returns, these trucks will keep losing value. If you own one, get the recall addressed and document everything. If you're shopping for one, negotiate hard and understand the risk you're taking on. Those are the 6 GMC trucks that are becoming worthless in 2026, not because they're bad trucks on paper, but because repair costs, recalls, and market perception have destroyed their value. If you're shopping for a used GMC, do your homework. Get a pre-purchase inspection from someone who knows these specific issues, and understand exactly what you're buying before you hand over your money. If you want to know which GMC years are actually worth buying, check out my video on the 3 model years everyone avoids that are actually hidden gold mines. And if you're worried about engine reliability, watch my video on the 3 worst and 4 best GMC engines you can buy. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.